Hey, thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Horror Debate. I am Jeff Rowdy Jake here, and alongside me, as always, Michael Mandy.
And this week we're going to be reviewing from 2007, 1408, starring John Cusack.
That's a lot of numbers, man. I'm already confused. Can we start over? From 2007, 1408, 5150, what?
I think I just gave out your phone number.
I think you did.
All right. This was based on a story by Stephen King in a book called Everything's Eventual. But I haven't read it. Have you read it?
Actually, I've done the next closest thing to read it. I've heard about it like 300 times from my wife.
Oh, okay.
And she says I have to read it. Okay, but she told me all about it. I mean, in detail. So I feel like I've read it.
See, one of the problems with translating a Stephen King or any book into a movie is if you've read the book, the movie is not going to live up to your expectations. So
I don't have any patience for books, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Read my profile.
I know.
Okay, I just
But,
I don't know. I think movies could come pretty close. It just depends on how faithful the director wants to get with it.
Yeah. So, but we're just looking at this as a film, as a movie. We're not comparing it to the source material.
Oh, you're not comparing it to the source material.
Okay.
Yeah, no. No,
I mean,
honestly,
whether the movie works or not, I'm judging.
Honestly, I have not read the source material, so I'm not going to do that. I'm just teasing you. But the honest truth is movies can come pretty close. I mean, they've done it before.
Yeah, like the Harry Potters.
The Harry Potters. The movies can be effective. It depends on the director's skill in taking the prose and finding the people to effectively act those parts and put it all together on the screen for 90 minutes, or in Harry Potter's case, 3,072 minutes. I can't stand.
Hours.
By the end of 3.5 hours, I want to take that little glasses wearing dude, and I want to take him by his little neck.
It feels like you read the book.
Dude, it feels like I lived the book. Okay, after 3 hours, and I cannot get into those movies. But my kids love them, so I sit through them.
All right, 1408. Let's talk about shoot me the basic plot there, Jeff.
Well, the basic plot is John Cusack's character is a horror author, and it's more based in reality horror, as in ghost, haunted houses.
One of those ghost hunter kind of guys.
Yeah, exactly. And he puts together all these books that are his experiences in these different haunted locations, okay?
10 haunted houses in the
everything was 10. 10 haunted houses, 10 ways to haunt your lover, that sort of thing, right? So anyway, he gets
and he drinks a lot.
He does drink a lot. He does, but that's irrelevant. And you drink a lot too, but that's also irrelevant. But anyway, the bottom line is that he finds this hotel, the Dolphin, right?
The Dolphin Hotel
in New York City. Right?
A place he doesn't want to go back to because it brings back bad memories.
Right. I was getting to that. And basically, he figures, this stuff doesn't exist. I'm a horror author, but I'm smart enough to know that this stuff doesn't really exist. And I'm going to go there anyway, though, just to get the vibe so I can write the book. Right? Mm-hmm. Well, he goes into the lobby, and he meets up with one of my favorite actors of all time, Samuel Jackson.
I thought you were going to say Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, him too. Not
Monk.
No, okay.
Yeah, Monk has a bit
Monk.
in this.
Yeah, and Samuel Jackson is trying to dissuade him from going up into this room because he said you're not going to last an hour.
Nobody lasts an hour.
Nobody's lasted an hour in that room. Now, of course, he's like, just give me the key, right? The guy's tried every psychological trick in the book to get him not to go up there, right? Which I thought was kind of cool. But he does. And he goes up there, and immediately, or almost immediately, little weird things start going on, and the intensity ramps up.
Big things start going on.
The intensity ramps up until, dude is like, get me out of here! So that is the basic plot. And I'll tell you what, man, I had really high expectations. Not really high expectations, but high hopes.
Yeah,
I had high hopes for this movie, and it did some things right. The lead up to getting Cusack into the hotel, I thought took a little too long.
Yeah.
Okay, there was a little bit too much dead space there, but I also liked once he was in there, they seemed to pace it really well. Things started clicking almost immediately, and you were hooked. But just getting him there and the rapport he had to have with everybody, like Samuel Jackson and the lady at the desk and all this stuff. I mean, it was a little bit too drawn out and long. It seemed like it could have been chopped up a little bit. Yeah, but this movie wasn't real long. It was it was less than 2 hours, right? So I mean, they were probably trying to
94 minutes.
94 minutes, yeah. So they were trying to leave as much in as possible. I think at that point. But like I said, man, I thought that I love John Cusack. Let me just say that right now. I thought in Identity he was brilliant.
Well, the
You know?
thing is, John Cusack has a knack for picking really good stories
Yeah.
and really good scripts, and he always turns in a really good performance.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, "Oh, he's a wonderful actor," and you know what? It's funny. I don't consider John Cusack an actor because he seems to always be playing himself.
Which is the mark of a good actor.
Right. Well,
How he can take the character and mold it into who he is.
okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah, that's
I'll give
what
you
he
that.
does.
But I mean, it's not like he hides inside a character so much that when the movie's over, you go, "Wow, that was John Cusack." No.
Yeah, Joan Cusack. No.
That was him. Wow.
No, maybe not. Okay. No.
No, but he always picks really good films.
And
He's a
tell me
really
the last
solid
bad
guy.
movie you saw him in. I mean, I even
Yeah.
love the Must Love Dogs or whatever it was with him and Diane Lane. I thought he did a brilliant job in that.
Gross Point Blank was pretty good too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, absolutely. I really can't think of a bad film this guy has been in all honesty.
I don't know. I didn't like Say Anything, but I didn't like those teen films.
Yeah,
John.
Well, that was early on, though,
Yeah,
right?
I
I mean,
know,
that was
yeah.
really early on. Lately, in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, no, he's always been turning in good
Fantastic. And
performances. But
this movie, it grated on me a little bit, Mike. I'll be honest with you.
Why?
The pacing, like I said, I was kind of squirming in my chair a little bit, waiting for this thing to get started. Once it did get started, I thought it went a little too weird on me. You know, the little things that
it started going overboard.
Yeah, it started ramping up, and I was starting to feel really good about halfway through the movie, like, oh, this is going to be cool, right? And then by the end, you're looking at the things that are going on in the room, and you're like, oh,
This can't be
man,
happening.
This is
This can't be
way
happening.
over the top.
You know,
You know?
They market this as a horror film or even a ghost story, but you know, it's more of a psychological type movie.
Yeah.
You know, is it happening in his mind? Is it real? Is it a dream sequence?
I had no idea.
Is it a dream sequence? Is it a flashback? Who knows?
It's a flash forward, flash sideways. I mean, I was lost. I was lost halfway. You know, not halfway. About the 3/4 of the way mark. You know, you're sitting there going, "Oh my goodness." Let me ask you a question, Mike.
Okay.
Just because it's been bugging me since I watched this movie.
Okay.
Okay. When Cusack is looking out the window, and he sees himself across the way. You saw this
That
in
was
the
trippy.
commercial.
That was trippy.
Yes, it was trippy. Yes, it was a cool visual. Who was the dude that tried to knock him over the head?
The weird dude from the guy from the painting of the boat. He was.
Oh, is that who it was?
Painting of the boat.
Okay.
He was a fisherman in the rain gear
Okay.
slicker. Wasn't that the creepiest dude though?
I'm glad you had the answer for that because I'm sitting there going, "Who is this
Yeah.
dude?"
Oh man, that's what I was about to say. This movie isn't really a scary film, but it's got a couple jump moments in it. You know, boo moments
Yeah.
I call them, that were really effective.
You know who I loved? I got a big belly laugh out of this one. The janitor guy that came up to fix the thermostat.
I'm not going in
I
there.
ain't going in there. You know, I'll walk
Yeah.
you through it.
That
I'm
was the
standing
thing.
right here.
This film, it's funny because this film, I don't want to say it didn't take itself seriously because it did take itself seriously, but there was a lot of little humor sprinkled throughout this
Which
movie.
I gotta have, Mike. I love it. It's a
you
beautiful thing, man.
But it's funny because it kept the mood light.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what made the boo moments really terrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they were over just as fast as they happened.
I'm not in love with the way it was shot overall. I wasn't in love
Why
with
not?
it.
Because I was going to say this Michael Hafstrom, we're looking him up his bio, and it seems he hasn't done anything in English.
Yeah.
But I liked the style, the fact that he didn't intrude on the scene going in.
Yeah.
He didn't edit things to make it jumpy. He
Seemed
didn't
like a
shake
lot
the
of
camera around.
I was just going to disagree with you on that a little bit because you remember when he's kind of freaking out and he's kind of, the things are starting to ramp up
so
on him.
he was doing the circular
kind of the circular, floaty,
Okay,
kind
but
of
I mean
weird
the shaky
vibe.
handheld camera to artificially generate suspense.
You're not gonna see that in this movie, but like for instance, like what we were saying, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre type shooting where you're
where they
you're
shake it just
all
to
over the
make
place.
it look scarier.
That's not what I'm talking
Blurry,
about. But it was kind of an eerie kind of thing, but it seemed to happen way too often. The kind of the swinging, kind of rotating, like the bathroom scene.
So like the steady cam work.
Exactly. I wasn't in love with that so much, but other
But
than
at least
that,
it was smooth.
It was smooth. It was
That's
smooth
all
and
I'm
silky.
saying.
But other than that, I thought he did more than.
Okay, I've got a question now.
Yeah.
This is spoiler warning. Who sent him the postcard that told him about this room?
I have no freaking idea.
Me neither.
Yeah.
That's
there's
one
a lot
problem.
of holes in this movie, Mike.
I wouldn't say holes, but just unanswered questions. I mean, this.
Wait. I'll give you a hole. No electronics work in this room. Am I
was
right?
about to say, as soon as he walked in, I'm going, hey, that clock's working. The TV's working.
Right. I mean, well, what is the deal with that, dude? How are they going to explain that away?
Yeah.
They
say no electronic
I noticed that
devices
immediately.
work.
What are they doing?
And what is the ghost's obsession with Karen Carpenter?
You know what? And then right off the top, as soon as that Carpenter song started playing, I thought of Ghost Rider.
Really?
Why?
I don't know.
Because they played the Carpenters in Ghost Rider.
They did?
Remember Karen Carpenter? Nick Cage's character loved Karen Carpenter.
Oh, that's right.
He kept talking over and over again about, you're messing with Karen.
Oh, that's
Don't
right.
mess with Karen when they turned off
right.
the music. Yeah, the second movie in real recent memory to feature the Carpenters.
Well, that's just because you got Ghost Rider on high def and you watch it every day.
I watch it every hour. No. Actually, the Blu-ray is really cool, but and I was now when I'm in the theater, I try to look at how the movie was shot and what it's going to look like when it comes out on high def. This is not a movie that's going to matter whether you watch it in high def or standard def. There's just not enough visual effects going on to make a difference, really.
Going back to John Cusack, basically, it's so funny when the movie ended, and it ended at a weird spot, by the way.
It ended abruptly.
The credits started rolling, and I'm going, wow, there was that many people in this movie?
Yeah.
Because it was like the John Cusack show for 85 of those 94 minutes.
I mean, but he didn't disappoint.
No, he did a great
disappoint.
Considering he had to carry the entire film, I thought he did a heck of a job.
Yeah. I'm gonna say right off the bat, I should have said this before, but really, this movie to me was almost like a documentary of one character, and nobody else really existed or mattered.
It was a psychological profile.
Yeah, it was like just looking at this guy, what's in his head, what he's trying to accomplish, the things that are happening to him specifically. Now, I will say, the daughter was creepy, dude. I thought she was creepy. I thought she was very effective in the she wasn't even doing anything scary. She just the way she looked.
There.
The way she looked, I thought was really interesting. I mean, different kind of little actress there, and the wife character was okay. Without Cusack, this movie would have died.
Oh, definitely.
This movie would have died.
This movie
he was the right
John
guy for the
Cusack
job.
movie.
Right guy for
All
the job.
So how we doing?
I'm going to give it 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 3. It was almost a 2, but I'm going to give it 3 because I thought Cusack's performance put it over the top. Like I said, the way it was shot, I'm not really in love with, but the story was told pretty well. It got a little over the top in places where a lot of people are going to be detached from that. They're going to be into the story until it gets to that point, and you'll know what I mean when you see it. I don't want to give anything away.
Then you go, okay, too far.
Yeah, then you're like, wait a minute. Now disbelief is just like, there's no way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's 3 stars. It's not a real heavy 3 stars. It's barely 3 stars.
Yeah. Like I said, there were only a couple of boo moments in it that were really scary, but otherwise the rest of the film did kind of drag. And I really didn't like. Now the ending, it seems like everything tied up into a clear, perfect knot. And then they said, no, wait, let's keep the movie going for 10 more minutes.
It almost seemed like they realized they didn't do enough.
Yeah, but I think they edited it and said, gee, we have a 75-minute film now. We need to stretch it out for 10, 15 more minutes.
Right.
And then they made it more ambiguous.
Yeah.
So I'm giving it 2 stars.
You're going to give it 2. Okay. Well, for me,
the
there was
boo moments were good.
Maybe I should have given it 2, but I'm going to give it 3, like I said, just for Cusack's performance. But I think the holes in the story and in the rules that they laid down about the room, like I said, with the electronics working and things like that.
Questions.
A lot of unanswered questions, a lot of things they went back on, and that's not good. I mean, if you're trying to, the whole thing about a horror movie is that you're trying to suspend belief. And when they make rules and you're supposed to be following those rules, and then suddenly they say, no, wait a minute, but this can work, or this can happen. Oh, we're going to go back on our own rules. That's never a good thing.
No, or they set so many rules that there's only one obvious answer, like in the M. Night Shyamalan movies.
Right, right. Eventually he's going to get mad at us for saying Shyamalama. Are you listening out there, man? All right.
3 stars from the Rowdy one, 2 stars from Mike, and we'll talk to you next week at the Horror Debate.